we're seeing there's a new message on the screen. Is that what you want?
A blank one? Yes, I was just getting that up to take some notes after we got started, but yeah. I'll move it in a second. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today's VOLTHA TST call. And I am recording the session so we can post it later to the VOLTHA playlist. And so just keep that in mind during discussions. And thanks everyone for joining. And let's see. So Sean Ying. So Sean, I don't see Jason on yet, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started with Broadcom discussion. And then, oh, I think he's joining now. Okay, so the first topic for everyone I wanted to talk about today is related to the Edge Core adapter. And there are some discussions that have been taking place over the past week or so, past couple of weeks. And so Kim and Sean Ying, I know you both have been involved in those. And Jason, I believe you joined the call today, so thank you for joining. I appreciate it with the time of night that it is where you are. And so what I wanted to do is, I think we have some progress here on getting some a path forward for who's going to be doing some of the work there. So I wanted to kind of involve Jason in that discussion, and then Kim also, I know you've been involved in that. So if one of you could give a little recap on where we are. So we've got two issues. We've got the redfish related issues, or the work that had been started by CalSoft that we're looking for a new assignee for that work. And then we also have the list of high priority gaps that Sean Ying had presented during the lockdown, and there's been discussion on that over email as well, I believe. So Kim, I don't know if you want to start, or Jason, if there's anything you wanted to chime in with directly.
Yeah, so this is Kim. So we can probably just start with the you know, picking up and resuming those. They were the Epic from Vol 248, the platform management thing. So those stories were all about getting environmental things from the OLT, like fans and power supply and thermal stuff. If anything, any health is wrong, to send that northbound through the adapter and an alarm to VOLTHA. So and that work, you know, kind of for history, in case anybody doesn't know about it, that work was being done. CalSoft, as mentioned, they had worked on that for a while under contract, and they stopped on that towards the end of the year. So that work was kind of in progress, and what was there wasn't actually working. I think they had some problems getting real access to real hardware so they could really try the fully integrated stuff on there. And it when I looked at what they had delivered and what they proposed to have in for that functionality, it just simply wasn't working. So that's kind of where we left it, and now we're looking to get some owner to pick those tasks up and continue forward. So Jason, can you make some talk? I know you sent an email overnight, so maybe you can say from your side.
Okay. So we talked about the redfish problem as the can test the fan or PSU problem. So I talk about the history. We had delivered the Intel ISD source code and the patch file to CalSoft, but we don't know the actually schedule from CalSoft. We just provide the source code and what they need, and what we need a source code or some feature. And before that, we implemented the current basis and the other issue. And we had a Excel file and attach it to the Vault and 311. I remember 311. So this file includes all of our implement and functionality of the Redfish. So far we don't know specification and what we the implementation of the Redfish in future. So we will fully support the Redfish before the 1.3 release. So we will implement and what we need some the feature and of the Redfish. So as Kim test the problem, the first one is the fan problem. The fan problem is, and if I start the fan speed, but the fan is the percent, but we get if the VOLTHA after get the fan status is disabled. So we will fix the status. And the other one is the PSU problem. So we also talk about this problem to Kim, and we will provide the page file, move forward to the next version. So and now we will want to know the next the specification. We will fully support all the future, and that's why I need the very want to know to everybody.
Okay, so I think this is Sean. I think thank you for providing the fix for the PSU and also the fan. I think right now is at least as the resource required to implement these to resolve these JIRA tickets. In addition to providing the fix from your driver side, we need some. We also need Edge Core to step up to implement how we can use the Redfish to manage your device. Kim, you know that is the final goal, right? So you know,
yes.
So I think the Redfish is is that a protocol, or I mean the package we're going to use to manage this device. And then so Kim, so the Edge Core adapter on the OOT side will communicate on device manager to the Edge Core device by utilizing the Redfish. Is that what you know? Very high level. That's it, right?
Yeah, that was the high level. The high level concept is that Redfish would provide a REST-based API to talk across to the adapter. That was certainly the proposal that was put out there a while back. And Redfish seems like the right thing to have in there because it's got, you know, sort of forward direction in OCP in general. So,
right.
But what isn't covered is, you know, how Redfish, you know, interacts with, you know, equipment other than CPUs in OCP, like switch or compute, you know, compute nodes. When OLT has kind of a little more specific requirements what has to be in there. But still, generally anything that is, that Redfish can support can be leveraged. So it seems like a good way to go with that, regardless if the interface stays underneath the edge core adapter, or if it swings out to be accessed directly by some other type of management entity there.
Right.
So
I don't remember whether. Sorry, because Jason's time. I don't want you to stay up too late. It's like past midnight there. Because of daylight saving, we don't have daylight saving time. If the California daylight saving time starts, then I think it will be better for him. So what I'm trying to say is, do we have a overall? I don't quite remember. Do we have an overall interaction between the adapter and Redfish, and then the edge core device, the driver? So we have a very high level
the
block diagram.
Is in there, Julie. If you can open that Vol 311, I think there was a lot of attachments in there, and there might be one. Scroll down, there might be a high level, maybe
proposal device manager.
Yeah, maybe the proposal device manager proposal. Yeah, one of those. It might have been a different one, but this may show something.
Hopefully, Julie, it doesn't crash your computer.
I know.
I'm going to petition to get Julie a new computer.
So the concepts were, identified here, and we worked backwards from, a specific set of requirements, which there are JIRAs for in there. It's certainly not everything, but it was, the key stuff that'll at least, get some functionality, out of the OLT and up into the adapter, so that things can be evaluated and alarm conditions can be set up to VOLTHA, because remember all the software has been disaggregated out of here for the edge core OLT, so we have to replace, put some functionality in here to get this. So I think it's on slide 5, Julie, if you click on that one. That was just kind of the flow, to the, from the client, the client over on the left that's running in the adapter, and all the messaging that it does towards, finally towards ONL, which is kind of the layer that's sitting on top of the devices in the OLT. And so a lot of this stuff substantially exists, right? That's kind of where the work was done. There was just some disconnect on the very top level REST client. Well, the information that it was getting wasn't what was expected to be from the CalSoft side. And as Jason mentioned, once we worked through that, we found a few things that weren't returning, the correct information, and that would have been in the Redfish server, right to the that second from the left there. So the hardware was all capable of getting the correct status. It's just the server wasn't returning really the thing that the REST client expected through there. So generally, Sean, to answer the question, the framework and the concept is all in here. We just need to have the continuation of the implementation to go forward, to get this in here, and then to maintain the adapter component that's looking at the device conditions in the OLT and raising the alarms.
Okay. Oh my God, I think that actually there's a lot of detail on this document. Who put this document together?
Yeah, this was the stuff that CalSoft put together.
Okay.
You know, based on the discussions we had, you know, for the requirements and how it would work and the analysis. I had JIRAs in there for the research of how this stuff would work, and they did do that. So that's what I'm saying here is how this is supposed to work. I think it's pretty well documented here in all this information, right? It's a matter of understanding, you know, what was the concept was here and to go through. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the CalSoft guys to walk anybody through this to say, okay, here's what, you know, the thinking was and how much work has been done so far. We're going to have to, you know, go over that. It's a challenge on picking this up again is, you know, is getting the understanding of what's there and how the model was supposed to be. So,
okay.
So
I think,
So Ken, I have question is this the 311 issue is the done. I see it's done. So this all and interactive with the Redfish server canine and relative mechanism is ready or not? We will figure out what is the Redfish the final specification, then to see the source code and to deep the understand what we are the programs. So this the architecture is a concept or the is done the progress, right?
Yeah, the architect just, well, it was done from the CalSoft point of view. These might not be done, you know, if it's, you know, research to, you know, understand the model and the client implementation. That one may have to be revisited, but that was, you know, CalSoft's, you know, evaluation of the progress. So, but, you know, the concept of having, you know, using the Redfish client in the adapter to pull these kind of things out of the OOT, that this was one of a number of ways that this could be done. And Redfish, there was, you know, some precedent in OCP and what, you know, Acton was doing before with you know, compute modules, that the Redfish solution seemed to be a reasonable one, a reasonable path to go down. So that's why the architecture was, you know, that here was chosen. Now, it may turn out that there needs to be something else, but I don't think so. I think we, you know, should probably push forward and see if the rest of these you know, requirements, these stories here can be, you know, can be finished off using the, you know, the current implementation.
Okay, so
okay.
So I have a question. It sounds like we may need to have maybe a separate meeting that perhaps we could find a time that works better on Jason's side, and do some more discussion on the status of things and the path forward. It sounds like we're not quite there yet. We're kind of kicking the work off again, but would it be helpful to have a kind of a separate side meeting to kind of go over this and see the current state of things, see what needs to be done to trigger the work again, and what might fit in sprint 1, which we'll see what can go there, or what may need to be pushed out to later sprints. Would that be useful?
Yeah, Julie,
would that be better
reasonable.
Than email is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, it's definitely going to go a lot faster because of the time overlap. And I think afternoon or evening in the West Coast time lines up better with the morning for Jason. So
yes, And this is what I'm thinking is would we meet maybe Monday afternoon? How's that? Monday afternoon California time will be Tuesday morning Taiwan time.
Yeah, yeah.
And then let's say Monday afternoon 4 o'clock Pacific time, that will be 8 o'clock Taiwan time. I will try to reach out CalSoft, see whether they can join. Potentially, hopefully they will. And Kim and the people in the community, I definitely will request Shad to be present for that. So do you think it's Kim, do you think that would be a better way to use everybody's time and then have a more thorough discussion?
Yeah, Sean, I think it is, but I'm going to have a conflict on the beginning of next week.
So
Okay.
I think we can use email to line up a time, if
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
then, and you know, we can put it on the court calendar so other people can join as needed as well.
Yes.
But this, I think that will probably be the best way, because I know we're running short on time in sprint 1. So I think it's best for us to do this little breakout session here. And then Jason, I'm hoping that we'll be able to reassign the CalSoft issues to you in Jira, but we can talk about that separately and make sure we know which ones I would be assigning to you. So we can talk about that during that next meeting too. So thank you very much. I appreciate your attending. I know this is not a convenient time for you, so really appreciate your effort. So thank you.
And Kim, for the community member want to involve, what shall we do before the separate meeting? Review the 311 documentation?
Yeah, that was all the stuff I had made sure that CalSoft put all their, current anything that they had, that wasn't like code or whatever, any design documents or, concept papers all in that Vault 311. So everything should be in there that is available.
Okay. And what I would do, let's see, with AT&T, we have some other people would like to be involved also. So Kim, let's do that. And if you can give me the contact of CalSoft you worked with, and then I'll send out an email to CalSoft and see whether they can, come in and then wrap up, do it sort of the wrap up process. So
all right.
I think that would be a good path forward. Jason, and go to bed. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we'll go through the
no problem.
email.
No problem.
No, thank you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Jason.
So last
yeah.
question is to Kim, and when you provide the VOLTHA adapter with some command to grab the redfish status, we need to do some test on the VOLTHA adapter. And can you provide some information for that?
Yeah, was the other part of Jason's question. Yeah, is to build up a test environment with VOLTHA that makes it easy to do that. It was implied in the CalSoft material, but they didn't have step-by-step on how they did it.
Okay.
So okay, and Jason, do you have the VOLTHA set up in your location already?
I can set up I can download from the GitHub and build for VOLTHA adapter, but I cannot. I can have the command to grab to get some status from the OLT. So it's a client server interactive status. So I need some help from the Kim and to do some like this test.
Okay, I think what we'll find help for you. Either Redis or or the ONF. I think sometime on the setup side, ONF. I'll see whether Shad has a capacity to work with you on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, and definitely we'll engage you with Kim also. I'm not going to assign Shad, but I'll talk to him.
Oh,
because
and then the one other complexity is the patch that actually enables all that stuff in the adapter is not in the main. It's not merged anywhere. It's just out there in Garrett. So it needs to be, cherry picked and merged into, the development code, just like a developer would do. And so it's a little bit of a project to, kind of get that in there. So it's just normal Git stuff on combining, but it's got to be put in there before VOLTHA is built. So it'll build the adapter correctly.
So we need to find some way to easy build for the VOLTHA data or OLT refuge client. So server, it should be a server in the OLT, right? So we provided a patch file. So maybe we can the assembly one file, not two files. So maybe it's very easy way to find out one file. So maybe let's talk later.
So we could talk through all those issues on how to do that, and that's all a good idea, Jason, and that's part of it is seeing what gets embedded in the OLT to begin with. So all right.
Okay. Hey, Jason, thank you very much, and Kim, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And anything, just send an email over. I think all the requests, and then if we don't address it, just keep let us know. Thanks, Kim. Julie.
All right. Okay. So Sean, I think my next question may actually be for you. So we've covered the Redfish-related JIRAs and the work that had been underway by CalSoft, and we're working on a path forward to reactivate that work and find new ownership. And then the next item is one that was related to the lockdown discussions, and that was adding some functionality to the EdgeCore adapter. There were some gaps identified by AT&T and by you as product owner that were looking to be targeted for 1.3. And so I wanted to get a status update from you on where that stands, because I know you've been having discussions with others as well. Or if you're not the right one,
no,
that's fine.
I sent a cleaned up list out, and I think Kim come back with some comment. I have not had the chance to digest it yet. Something. Kim, do you remember? Let's see.
So I believe I had it open earlier. Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead,
the
Kim.
general comments is some of that functionality that was on the list is not specific to the EdgeCore adapter.
Correct.
It's VOLTHA in general. For example, how to push down through VOLTHA, particular flows and setups, and let me get the list, like TComp provisioning and queue management. Okay, those were the last two items I think on your list to get the specific XPON traffic descriptors set up. So that bringing, there's two parts to it. One is bringing it down through VOLTHA, through the VOLTHA interface, and then the other part is applying it on the equipment. And certainly, you know, the edge core adapter and that framework all has to deal with, you know, getting it set up correctly for.
But would that be true? Would that be true? It's mostly if BAL supports it, or you know, the SDK, the Broadcom SDK doesn't support it, right? So if BAL supports it, then the CalSoft basically, I mean not CalSoft, the edge core shouldn't have any issue, right? Other than providing the driver.
The equipment on doing it right, but how does that hook up in VOLTHA? For example, you know, how do you generally, you know, set up, you know, the varying different use cases from VOLTHA, you know, through the, you know, the XPON capability in VOLTHA right now is not, you know, complete enough to be able to specify all this stuff.
Okay.
So that, you know, that was basically the, you know, the big point of it. So this would be, do any of this stuff that like TCOMP provisioning and queue management, do that with any OLT equipment using VOLTHA. Can that be done? And the gap right now is edge core, you know, being BAL and a new framework in there, and no legacy, you know, framework on which to, you know, manipulate everything. You know, has, you know, it's different. So that's why this, you know, my point was that some of this stuff is VOLTHA in general and not specifically edge core.
So I guess that my list probably, I wonder what it has identified, whether that's VOLTHA in general versus, I think some of them I did.
It didn't. Some of them were, yeah, so it's two categories, edge core only, VOLTHA, you know, VOLTHA only, and then VOLTHA and adapter.
Right.
So, and that's what, you know, kind of the thinking, you know, as we were looking at this, what, how the,
I think the list
categories are broken down.
Exactly. No, I think when I send out the list, just to the community member, I sent it out just, you know, because the discussion I had with the Kim, and so I send out. I don't think I sent out to everybody in community. I just want to double check whether the list has better clarification before I send it out to the community. So the email I sent out, I hide it two column, whether that's adapter or it's core issue. So I guess I should have included those two columns. Let me send that out again. I think there are some new use cases maybe can be better defined coming out of this list. And I'm also interacting with Deutsche Telekom, see whether that's the same requirement they're looking for. So if Deutsche Telekom, potentially Turk Telecom, they're all looking for the same stuff, then we will definitely push some of them into the 1.3. So Julie, so to summarize, I need a little bit more time to
right. What I'm going to tell you what I'm going to suggest, and we'll see if you agree. So it sounds like there still needs to be a little bit of back and forth discussion and some more cleanup on that list as well. I was thinking perhaps, do you think like another week would be enough time? Do you think maybe either next Tuesday or next Thursday we could have a readout on the status of that list? Kind of, we've got the clarification on what the issues are. We've identified ones that need to have JIRAs added, for example, and functionality that's already been covered. And if we can get a readout on that list that you're working on, could we do that next week?
Let's give it a try. Target next week. And next Thursday.
And is Thursday best? Is Tuesday too soon, do you think?
It's always too soon. Sorry.
Okay.
No,
let me put it down for.
The reason why I'm reluctant for the next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but next coming Thursday, is I'm hoping to get the Telefonica to come in to introduce their stuff. So
I'm going to put it down for agenda for next Tuesday.
Okay.
And then at least we can get a status on where things are, because clearly at this point we've got I don't expect that we're going to end up getting development work into Sprint 1 for this, because we're halfway through Sprint 1. But if we can at least have a path forward identified and find out what the specific ones are, that as product owner, you're looking to get into 1.3, then we can see what maybe could be pulled into Sprint 2 is my thought at this point. If anything can be done in Sprint 1, that's great. But with nothing assigned at this point, I think that's a bit unlikely.
Sure.
Okay, so let's see if we can get a readout next Tuesday on the status, and then it sounds like you'll send the list out to the community later after some more cleanup with kind of the assessment that's been going on in the background, and finding out which are true gaps, which have already been delivered, and then categorizing the work appropriately.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll reword that later, but okay. So I think that covers the two EdgeCore related topics that we had for today. So thank you for that. And then thank you also for, Kim and Jason probably has dropped off, but for all the work that's been going on in the background to try and figure out how to pick up and restart the CalSoft work. So appreciate that. I think the next topic I wanted to go over is, let's go to the VOLTHA board. And so Chip, I wanted to thank you for the work that you did prior to going on your vacation so that you could get those stories in, people could start reviewing them. I did a very brief, review of the JIRAs last week, just letting people know they were there and kind of the rough targets or categories for things. You've got good descriptions there. So next steps for this, I think we had talked about on Thursday of this week having some more deep dive discussion on the proposals and the progress and where things stand at this point, and see if we can get, I'm hoping Chip and Kim and Sean Missett, we could get you guys involved in presentations for Thursday. So is that doable? I know we targeted it for discussion, but now that we're getting closer to the actual time, I wanted to check.
Yeah, I guess we could probably do a little bit more deep dive. I haven't coordinated with Kim or Sean since I've gotten back, since I just got back.
No, yeah, understood. That's why, and if it ends up being more a forum for open discussion and brainstorming, I'm fine with that too. It's just trying to figure out how we can, our next steps here and kind of getting everyone on the same page. And you've put all the framework in place here for those initial stories and epic stories related to this. And so I'd also like to work with you to figure out which items we need to pull into Sprint 1. I think you had added stories that you thought could be covered in Sprint 1 and Sprint 2. And I'd like to sort of pull in the ones that need to be covered in Sprint 1. So I can work with you offline on that.
Okay.
And then also for the community at large, if there are resources that are available to assist with the open OMCI work, that would be greatly appreciated. I believe, now I can't remember if it was in the comments or if it was in on VOLTHA Discuss. I think there were a couple specific ones that might be related to the database and MibSync, for example, and some of the other things. If there are resources available to assist in the development work, that is welcome. And so please, if you want to volunteer, feel free. We would love more help. Chip, is there anything you, go ahead.
Yeah, there's also a couple, currently right now, since this is part of the core, it was pretty much Kim and is the only person, module owner still out there. So if anyone else wants to do reviews, I would, jump on those two if you'd like to. Those are just some simple updates. And I can start on some of the reviews. I'd like to start to include some of the people working on the Broadcom ONU, just because if they see it, they might be a little bit more familiar with it, or any other ONU person. Just send me an email or speak up, and I'll start adding you on the reviews, just so we get more coverage with people interested in ONUs.
Good point. Thank you. Okay, and let me go back to the board here. So Chip, I think I'll talk with you offline, since we're running a little bit short on time with the schedule that I have here in front of me. So I'll work with you, or if you want to pull them into Sprint One yourself, that's fine as well. We'll start pulling those in. And I have seen some of the issues getting closed out on progress for 1.3. So thank you for those that are being done in the background. David, I saw some from you. And let me just do a quick look. Trying to remember, I think this Vol 617 is a new issue since our previous discussion. So let me switch over there. And this was one that was opened by David, I think it was just yesterday. Yes, just yesterday. And so this is enable Docker base build. And David, I don't have a list of participants visible to me at the moment. Are you on the call today? I am not hearing David. Okay.
He was on earlier.
Okay. So we may have lost him.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the only new one I see in the backlog at the moment, I believe, since our previous discussion. And so since David's not on, we'll maybe defer the discussion there. Okay, so let me go back. All right, I think we've got about 15 minutes left. I wanted to check before I move on to some sort of administrative items and discussion and planning for future calls. Wanted to check if anyone on the call has discussions specific to particular JIRA issues that you would like to talk about on the call today. Okay, I am not hearing anything, so I think I will move on to the next topic. So the next topic is, hopefully everyone has seen on VOLTHA Discuss that Bill Snow did send out a request for nominations for the adapter Scrum Master, so for a co-Scrum Master for the work. So that was the role that Tim has been covering previously and had been graciously filling in on an interim basis this month as well. But we do have nominations open for a replacement for Scrum Master for that. So if that's something that you would like to take on, or if you know someone that would be good for that role, please submit your nominations. And Sean, I don't know if you wanted to add anything there. I just wanted to make sure we covered that on the call today.
No, I definitely think extra help will be great. Julie basically working full time as Scrum Master here, so plus other things she has to do for her other assignment within the AT&T's work. So anybody, any company has extra, people has a Scrum Master background, or you want to start learning how to be a Scrum Master, please chime in.
Okay, and then the next item on the agenda is, I believe Sean wanted to talk a bit about the plans for the second quarter lockdown. So Sean, I'm going to hand it over to you for any comments you have there.
Right. So I think I made the proposal. I do have a counter proposal coming from the DT also, and also the ATRAN. But I guess I should have maybe had people vote on it. But what I think is this is what what am I saying? The proposal I presented during the lockdown, it is the April. So the schedule is the Tuesday of the week of the April 8th. So it will be April 10th afternoon, and then April 11th all day, and then April 12th morning sessions as optional. The reason why I think the AT&T would like to host this again is AT&T is also hosting the FSAN workshop on the Monday in Dallas headquarters. So I think that some of the vendor and service providers, they can join the VOLTHA meeting after the FSAN workshop. FSAN workshop has a couple of sessions regarding to the SDN work for the PON technology. So I think the guru will be there. So I think it will be a good fit for VOLTHA to be hosted around the same time. Different location. We're still looking at some of the budget issue. May potentially, we probably still require members to have lunch in the building, cafeteria, but we'll work it out for the detail later. Anybody has any comment? So I basically decided if people are against the idea, I don't think this is a good idea to have AT&T to host consecutively. Please shout out right now. If so, do I have should I don't know. I'm not very democratic here, so so it will be in AT&T building in Dallas, and then the time, the day, as Julie posted here. So I think the reason why I like to start it in the afternoon on the Tuesday, so people can travel on the Monday, on the Tuesday morning. I think that Dallas will be a good location for more centralized. So that's the plan. Any comment? We are pretty quiet today.
Yeah.
So is this at the exact same time as FSAN, or is it going to be coordinated so that someone could participate both in FSAN and in the lockdown?
It's exactly the same time as FSAN. So it's different time as the workshop is on Monday, and by Tuesday and through Thursday is basically parallel. So I don't know whether some people may have to go back and forth or not. So that, yeah, it is in parallel.
Okay.
The rationale.
Then with the distance between the AT&T facility and the FSAN location, is that walking distance?
It's elevator ride.
Oh, okay. That's doable.
It will be on the 13th floor in AT&T's building. But since it's a headquarters, we do need to have people escort people around. So I'll find out the more detailed rules within that building. But I think it's a good time frame, because if we I think that week is a good time. If we pick something after that, I think it's too late. If we pick something earlier than that, then we'll be running conflict with Broadband Forum plus other things. So and ONS. So I think that week is out. To me, I think it's a best fit week to have a face-to-face lockdown.
Right. If I'm able to make it, I'll be one of those people that would be going between both meetings.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I would appreciate that, and I would like to meet you in person. If I have not met you before, I probably have. But just I have a bad memory. Okay, Julie.
I have one request then as you're putting together the schedule, Sean. So I don't know how many other folks we have in the VOLTHA community that will be at the meeting that also are SSAN attendees. So if there are specific topics in SSAN, so Kent I know would be working. No, not Kent these days. Yeah. So the agenda for the SSAN meetings, if we could try to coordinate topics on our side in terms of timing, so that if people that are SMEs in VOLTHA for a specific subject and need to be at SSAN, say the afternoon of of Tuesday, then if we could look for time slots, just trying to coordinate subjects so that we have the best coverage possible without compromising folks who need to attend both meetings, basically.
Agree.
Okay, so it's so if there are people in the VOLTHA community that are going to be attending the SSAN meeting as well, if you could get your input to Sean as we get closer to time on what sessions you need to be in for VOLTHA, and then which sessions you need to be in for SSAN, then I think hopefully we can accommodate things on the schedule.
Or I think since we
as
have
best
Ken,
possible.
since we have Ken, so yeah. What I'm saying is I don't know whether people know about the schedule already.
Right. No, I don't think they do. So, and I don't think, Sean, I don't think Ken's going to be setting the agenda for the individual sessions, but since he's hosting the meeting, he should, I think, have visibility to the agenda at some point, but not yet. It's still, I think, early for that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll fill in some notes for myself there, but I think we can hopefully find a way to work around that so people can get the best benefit out of both meetings if they do need to attend both. Okay. And David, I think I saw you join. Are you still on the call? David Bainbridge? Or maybe he dropped off again.
Did you go back to the meeting with his pillow? Okay.
Okay, so I think we'll leave the discussion of 617 for later then, since I'm not hearing David. So I think that is what we need to discuss on the technical side here today. So I'm going to go ahead and, once I get my controls back, stop the recording for today's session. So thank you, everyone. We do have Thursday's call is going to be dedicated to OpenOMCI and some deep dive discussion there. And so I'll send out some more notes after the call today, and I will stop the recording.